good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to our another brand new episode, webinar number 638. And the topic is oral communication amidst pandemic. So, dear participants, welcome to our Institution of Global Professionals International free webinar. All right. So thank you for joining us in this live program, and please stay with us till the end. So my dear lovely audience, dear participants, I'm your host Nasreen Nisha from Bangladesh. So dear participants, really I'm proud to be associated with IGP as a global member, and I feel respected and privileged to host this webinar. And it's my delight to welcome you all to our Institution of Global Professionals International Film Webinar. So I'd like to request everyone, please stay with us till the end. And I'm sure that all will have many takeaways and payoffs from this webinar. Each time you can give a react and comment in our video. So don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends in our comments. Alright, so dear participants, let's learn and grow together because we believe that power is gained by sharing knowledge, not alone. So once again, I'm the stream member in IGP. Welcome you all to our live program right now. Okay. Okay, right now we have our active participants who have already joined and commenting in our comments. Thank you everyone for joining with us. We have Ma'am Evelyn, we have Perry joined from YouTube. We have Ma'am Kiana, okay, Ma'am Izay, Ma'am Gloria, sorry, Misunderstood. Good morning everyone, good afternoon. Okay, we have Ma'am Baini. Ayan, Ma'am Dia, Ma'am Vice. Thank you everyone for joining with us. So don't forget to share this live program in your timeline, Facebook groups, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all the social media groups so that everyone know about IGP, they can learn and they can also learn about us. Okay. Hello, Ma'am Saida. So, dear participants, I'm going to share a little concept about IGP. So, you have already know that IGP is a non-profit international educational institute. Yes, and IGP serves student and community resource providing holistic social work with education for creative professional generation. IGP is leading on online skill development institute with thousands of learners worldwide. We make it get it able to use for every knowledge seeker learner worldwide to originate their personality, become more ambitious, and make confident to face any circumstance and develop their own skills. We are entrusted with international recognition. So, dear participants, Institute of Global Professionals is an educational institution that provides social work. We believe that it's not effective to increase life skills just by acquiring formal education. So, we provide effective training and consultation to generate proficient generation all over the world. We organized our webinar, online, offline courses, etc. by best and trained speakers and coaches from all over the globe. And Recently, IGP launched new website for job named job logins, so you can find information about job search. Yes, and we have our new page in Facebook, that is IGP Kids. So these are great news for everyone because it's a great opportunity to gather knowledge and learn and grow up day by day. So, dear participants, we have our trained speakers and coaches from all over the world here to create a best learning platform for all of you. And our mission is empower people, our youth, and enhance. So I've already shared that we have completed our 637 webinar successfully. And dear participants, I'll not take long my time. So I'm going to start our program with IGP's mantra, that is video skills. So dear participants, you can comment in the comment box with hashtag IGP, hashtag video skills, and we will proceed our program step by step. All right, so let's welcome our honorable speaker from Philippines, Ma'am Mary Ann and Calates. Good morning, ma'am. Okay,
Hello,
in
ma'am.
Philippines
Good morning and good morning,
this afternoon.
everyone. Yes, oh yes, it's already in the Philippines. Yes.
Okay, so ma'am, you can share your presentation, and this is on screen now, and the platform is all yours.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to our respected guests, to our viewers. Good afternoon also to everyone. I hope you are all doing well. You have taken up your lunch, and I hope you are all in good health. Okay. And of course, talking about health, our discussion for today will be focusing on the communication in times of pandemic. We all know that we are suffering nowadays with this pandemic, the COVID-19, and still the threat is everywhere. Yet, our linguistic and our capability of talking and speaking and communicating with others is not hindered, or there are no roadblocks to every speaking process if we can be able to cope up with those roadblocks that are ahead of us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to our discussion for this afternoon. I am Ma'am Mary Ann Alcalated from the Philippines, talking about oral communication amidst the pandemic. Now, talking about oral communication, we all know that there are linguistic skills that we have, which includes our speaking, our writing, our listening, and our ability to read. But the most important way, or the most important linguistic skills that we should develop in order for us to satisfy our needs is the communication, and that is oral communication, our speaking skills. We all know that we communicate in order for us to satisfy our needs. In that certain communication, we are utilizing the language. And most often than not, the language that we are using is English language, most often than not, since we all know that English is our international language. So that means each of us are being honed to be capable of communicating using the language which are understandable to all. Okay, since oral communication is an essential aspect of man because it is our way of sharing our knowledge, our ideas, I- experiences, our emotions, it is in need that we should develop our capability to communicate. How are we going to develop that, especially in this time of pandemic? So we will dichotomize it one by one. So let me share to you these certain communication words that we can ponder. Okay, you can take a screenshot of this and look for the meaning of it in the dictionary, which are all essential in our communicative situation. Since communication here is talking about information, we are expected to develop our skills in communicating. So, how are we going to develop that? Through socializing with others. That's why communication is said to be a two-way process. That includes our communication with our listener. So that means since this is a two-way process, it includes the speaker and the listener. So, how are we going to communicate considering the listener? Okay. And of course, remember that in communication, we consider also the different elements of it. It includes our message. How are we going to deliver our message? It includes also the channel. What certain way or how are we going to communicate with our listener? What are those channel that we are talking about? That includes our telephone, that includes our written text. But here, in our discussion, we are talking here about oral communication. So most often than not, our channel is our voice, and of course, telephone. Nowadays, since we are in the pandemic time, we are using the telephone. Okay, our telephone, our social media. That's why we have here now the live streaming. That is the use of social media, talking with the a lot of audience using the media. Okay, in here, oral communication takes place in face-to-face conversation. It includes our communication with the listener. So one is the speaker, one speaker, and there is one or more listeners. Okay. Would it be possible that I will be the speaker and the listener will not be giving feedback? Yes, that will be possible if we are in the social media. That's what we are doing today. But you can give your feedback later on after our discussion. Okay. Talking here about oral communication taking place in face to face conversation, that is through a two-way process, sharing of information from one person to another. A group discussion, like for example, in a business meetings, telephone calls, and other circumstances in which spoken word is used to express meaning. So remember that the most essential part of oral communication is the word or the language that we are about to use. Just like what we I have said a while ago, make sure that the language that we are using is understandable to all. Okay? And make sure also that the language that we'll be using is also considering the setting. Is it formal or informal? Okay? Because the formal setting is different from the informal setting. In the formal setting, we consider the rules in speaking and we choose the language, the formal language, the formal word that we are about to use. But in informal setting, that is a merely conversation type. Okay? So make sure that we consider the spoken word that we are about to use as we speak. Okay? and that is used to express meaning. What certain meaning are we referring to? That is the message that we are about to share to our listener. So make sure that you use the appropriate language for our listener to be able to understand what we are speaking. Okay? So remember also that in oral communication, it is important because the getting always for feedback. What completes the communication process is the feedback. So remember that the essential element of communication is the feedback. So we are expecting to our listener the feedback. If the listener is expecting for us the message, we are also expecting to our listener the feedback. Okay, I will repeat. Okay, let us review. Remember again that there is two setting in communication, that is the formal and informal. Okay, and communication has two kinds, that is the verbal and the nonverbal communication. But in oral communication, we use the combination of verbal and nonverbal. That includes our spoken word and our nonverbal gestures, which include our facial expression. That includes also our hand gestures, our sense of touch, okay, and our distance with one another. Okay. Later on, as we go on with our discussion, we will be talking about how we are going to cope up with those kinds of communication considering the verbal and the nonverbal. Okay. Let's now move forward. Okay. Let's now move forward. So, it is very much important for us to communicate with one another. Okay. What are the modes of communication, therefore? How are we going to communicate with one another? So, according to research, we have shown that 80% of communication by executives of a company is in an oral communication or oral form. So, remember that oral communication is very much important, the way we deliver our message. That's why in business community, it is essential for them to conduct meetings, speeches, seminars, that is to share their information, share the current status of their business. So, therefore, oral communication is very much important for them. In our education sector, oral communication is also very much important because that is our way of communicating. That is our way of sharing our information to our students, um, sharing information to our colleagues, sharing information to others, especially during seminars and trainings. So, therefore, in our sector, oral communication is very much important. So the modes of communication includes the following. We have the grape grapevine or the grapevine. That includes our sense of communication in an informal way. Okay, the daily conversation, daily communication with others, that is the way of communication. So talking with your seatmate, talking with your um, neighbors, that is communication also. Telephone or cellular phone communication. So that is also true to all. We are using our telephone to communicate. Telephone as a channel, but we are communicating orally. Okay. And messages as well. We send voice message, we send videos to them, that is oral communication as well. We have interviewing our um, applicants. Okay. Then we have speeches as well. Oral communication includes the speech. This is a formal way of communicating with others and also in the public communication. Intercom, or the use of channel to communicate with other people in a certain business. Okay. Teleconferencing, the use of a channel to communicate with others, especially those which are from far from each other. So they have teleconferencing using video, that is teleconferencing. Face-to-face discussion, when we are talking with others in a face-to-face way, that is oral communication as well. The dictaphone or dictation, okay, when we dictate information. Brainstorming session also includes or also is also included in the modes of communication. When we brainstorm about a certain idea or information, just like for example, we brainstorm on how we are going to do the face-to-face classes despite of the pandemic. So that is brainstorming. Okay. Then the radio communication. So um, broadcasting. Broadcasting is an example of oral communication as well. Meetings and conferences in a business community, that is uh, oral communication. Conversation, our daily conversation with the members of the family, daily conversation with our friends. Okay. Then presentation of information, presentation of the topic, just like what we are doing today. This is a form of oral communication as well. Let's now move forward. So what are the advantages of oral communication? Why do we need to take up this one? So this is very much essential because it includes the immediate feedback. It is very much important because it provides us with immediate feedback. We expect already feedback from our listener. In this form of conversation in through media, we can have the feedback through the chat. We can have the feedback through um, your sharing of your information, sharing through our live stream. Okay, in our chat. Ano po? Okay. Moving forward, time saving because we don't need to have so much time. We don't need so much money for us to provide oral communication or communicating with others because a face-to-face conversation is already enough. We don't need to have a lot of money. We don't need a notebook. We don't need anything, just a face-to-face conversation. But if we will be using the channel, just like the phone, talking with your audience, that will be different. Okay, we will be getting load. We need to have our load in order for us to communicate with others. Okay. And it is economical. Just like what I have said a while ago, our conversation is enough already. Our oral communication will be enough already to communicate with others. Okay. Remember that we learn a lot. Our because the people around us honed us as a person. So remember that the one we are talking to is very much important for us to hone our personality. Remember the saying that tell me who your friends are and I will tell you who you are. So that means the people around us honed us as a person. Okay, so be careful to those whom you are talking with. Okay, I don't mean something, but I am just saying that the person around us are the important factor in honing ourselves. Okay, our personality, our emotion, our intellect, because we learn from other people. Okay, and remember that we will not be alive, we cannot go forward without other people. Remember the saying that no man is an island. So we need other people in order for us to survive. That's why we are communicating in order for us to satisfy our needs. Okay? Moving forward, so it will be essential also for us to communicate because of the personal touch or the haptics. Okay? We can touch others. That will be our nonverbal gesture. Okay? And feedback can be a sense of touch. Okay? Tapping their shoulder, that can be a form of feedback. And that can be a form of communication. Saying hi is already a form of communication. Just waving your hand is already a form of communication. Tapping the hand of the person beside you is already a form of communication. So, oral communication can involve personal touch because you can touch the person whom you are talking with. But remember, that it will depends upon the person whom you are talking with, and it will depends upon the setting. Okay? In the business sector, you cannot tap the shoulder of your boss. Okay? So that means we should be careful of our sense of touch because sometimes nonverbal gestures are the source of misunderstanding. Okay? Remember that our main purpose of communication is understanding. Big word. Okay, caps lock, understanding. We communicate in order for us to understand and be understood. That is why we should communicate if there are if there are problems or there are challenges in your institution. Okay, communication is very much important. Okay, flexibility. That will be flexible. You can be flexible enough. You can share information. You can see the facial expression of the person whom you are talking with. You can also ask questions to them directly, okay? And they can understand you. Secrecy, because you can share your ideas, the information in a more conversational way in which other people couldn't hear your voice. It depends upon you. Ano po? So there are restrictions. In every setting, there are restrictions. Remember that. Group communication, that will be possible in oral communication, the group communication. And sometimes we do enjoy communicating in a group communication because remember that two heads is better or are better than one. Okay, we can share a lot of information, we can share a lot of ideas in a group discussion. Okay, you can agree as long as each of you has your open mind. Okay, open mindedness. The values here is open mindedness. So you should have an open mind in order for you to agree with one idea and in order for your institution to be successful. Okay, effectiveness. Most often than not, oral communication is an effective way of communicating with others, especially when you are talking about ideas, when you are talking about business, it is very much effective. But nowadays, talking about the roadblocks, um, sometimes misunderstanding is the cause of the bar down of a certain institution. Okay? Moving forward, persuasive power. In an oral communication, we can be persuasive. We can let our listener agree with our ideas because we can share a lot of ideas, we can share a lot of experiences, a lot of our ideas, our knowledge, we can share it to others. We can persuade them in our own way, the way we speak, the way we communicate with them, we can persuade them through our way of communication, our persuading power. Okay? How does communication therefore affects our how does COVID-19 therefore affects our oral communication? That will be the question, and that is um, a certain problem, a certain challenge that we need to overcome. Okay. In this certain aspect, it was said that according to research, the fear of public speaking, known as the glossophobia, is a common and real form of anxiety. Nowadays, because of pandemic, we are suffering from um, depression. Some of us are suffering from anxiety because of our usual way of communicating was affected by the pandemic. Okay, so we are affected by the pandemic. That's why our oral communication was affected. Okay, so, a fear of public speaking known as the glossophobia. So, when you have the fear of talking with a lot of people, although you are well-rounded, you have all the ideas, you are knowledgeable, but you have the fear of talking with others, talking in public, that is glossophobia. Okay? This glossophobia is affecting as much as 75% of the population. That's why nowadays, according to research, because of COVID, there are a lot of people which are affected by the pandemic. A lot of people, communication was affected by the pandemic. Okay. Because we are restricted to stay at home. Our way of communication was restricted. Okay. Moving forward. In the scholarly literature, it is usually referred to as communication anxiety. That means a problem or our emotional stress in communicating with others. Communication apprehension or communication avoidance. We do avoid talking with people. We just prefer to stay at home. We prefer to stay inside our room, okay, and use our phone and just browse our Facebook, okay? That is anxiety or stress. In more popular sources such as Harvard Management Communication Letter, it has been called stage fright or your fear of talking with a lot of people and speech anxiety, okay, which affects our personality. How are we going to avoid this? Okay. Because of the pandemic, this affects our way of communication with others. Ano po? It affects our way of communicating with individuals because of the fear of or that threat of the pandemic, ano po, of the COVID-19. So we use our face mask, which hinders our way of communicating with others. Okay? We use our face mask. This affects our nonverbal gesture in communicating with other people. Okay? So it affects our way of expressing our ideas. It also affects the tone of our voice. Okay? This affects our way of communicating with other people. This is because of the fear of the threat of pandemic. Ano po? So that's why we are using the mask. And of course, we tend to use our cell phone because we are fearful that we will be affected by the COVID-19. So we stay at home, we just use our phone. We use our phone to and our laptop to communicate with other people. We use our other gadgets to communicate with others instead of talking to them face to face. Might be you are talking with others through face to face, through social media, ano po, and teleconferencing. But this affects our face to face conversation with them. Ano po, in which our empathy with other people is affected uh, by this pandemic. Ano po, we have our empathy. We cannot relate to the emotion of others because we are talking to them through phone or through social media. We might be we can have empathy, but that is not that much as to face to face. Ano po, in which we can tap their shoulder, we can hug them, ano po, we cannot socialize a lot. Um, we are restricted in terms of talking to them or communicating with them. Moving forward, we are also advised to stay at home because of the pandemic. We stay at home, we follow the physical distancing for us to avoid the spread of the COVID-19, in which it hinders our way of communicating with others. Okay, we tend to stay at home. We just talk to people through social media. Okay, in which it hinders our way of um, honing ourselves as a person. Okay, how are we going to improve our oral communication? Therefore, though we are in the pandemic time, of course, we can use your phone. You can also use your phone. You can still use, but now we have restricted or we have limited face-to-face conversation already, in which um, there are limited sessions, limited conferences, limited people who attend conferences. Okay, at least we can have now the face-to-face conversation. But just a reminder, make sure to make yourself safe, stay safe, because there is still threat of the COVID-19. Okay. So oral communication, how are we going to improve our oral communication? So make your mental notes when you talk to someone or you talk to other people. It can be in a form of teleconferencing, it can be in a form of media, live streaming. You can make a mental notes of what he or she is saying. Okay? Be clear and concise when you talk to them. Okay? And as a listener, make sure that when you talk to them, when you are listening, you can have also the focus of what the speaker is saying. Okay? Stay your focus so that when you become the speaker, you can also consider the listener. Okay, write it out first. When you are talking, when you want to talk to someone, write it out first. Make sure that you have at least notes of what you want to say. For my case, I have my notes, but unfortunately, I couldn't flash it. So I only recall what I have written in my notes. But actually, I have my notes in the lower part of my presentation. Moving forward, group participation. You can participate. You can let other people participate. You can talk to people. You can encourage and you can what's that? Enhance your oral communication through group participation. So we encourage, especially our students, to participate in group discussion, group activities, so that they will not be focusing on their own. That is intrapersonal communication only. So we encourage them to talk to other people, to talk to their classmates through group discussion, group participation, group activity, so that they can hone their interpersonal communication. At the latter part, They will be presenting in front of the class so they can enhance their public speaking. Okay, that is our way of enhancing the oral communication of other people. Be a good listener. If you are a good speaker, make sure that you are also a good listener. Avoid overreacting or avoid overthinking. You haven't yet heard the idea of the speaker, but you are already thinking of the topic. You have already the idea of the topic, which affects the way of grasping the idea. Ano po? That is already foreshadowing of the ideas that the speaker will be speaking to or talking to. Okay, you are already foreshadowing. Spell clear and precise. Make sure that you talk in a clear and precise manner. If you're talking to people, make sure that you consider their way of understanding. Might be you'll be using the jargon words in which other people couldn't understand. There are words which are exclusively used by certain group of people. So make sure that we consider the certain group whom we are talking to. So practice in the mirror, that is the very much important. We practice in the mirror so that we can see what are our mannerisms, what are the things that we need to improve in order for us to be a good speaker. Okay? Our facial expression, you can check it through using your mirror. Okay? That is our best way of enhancing our communication skills. Since you are staying at home because of the threat of COVID-19, you can always practice in front of the mirror. Okay? But make sure that the family members are aware that you are talking in front of the mirror to practice your communication skills because might be they will be thinking that you are already crazy if they are not aware that you are talking in front of the mirror to practice your speaking skills. Okay, moving forward, how are we going to make our communication effective to our listeners? So, one, these are just some of the considerations, my suggestions for us to improve our communication skills. Appropriateness. Make sure that the language that we are using is appropriate to the environment or to the occasion. So since you are talking in a formal, make sure that you use the formal language. In an informal way, you can use the conversational way of communication. So the language is very much important in the communicative situation. Okay? We consider how we are going to deliver our message considering the language and the setting. Another one, we consider also the brevity. Okay, brevity speaks about the speakers who often use simple yet precise and powerful words which are found to be more credible. Okay, remember that the way you talk to other people reflects the person, or the way we talk to others reflects our personality as a person. Okay? The words that you are using reflects who you are. The per the friends whom you are talking to reflects who you are because we hone ourselves and we become sociable because of our friends. Okay? So make sure that you hone yourself considering the language and the person whom you are talking to. Okay. Consider always, choose always the words that you are going to utter. Okay. Which might affect or make a difference to other people's lives. Okay. Remember that we are here to make a difference to other people's lives. Okay, we speak to make a difference to other people's lives. So we choose our words, we choose the words that we are going to uh, use. Okay. Moving forward, clarity. The meaning of words and the feelings that we are going to use may be interpreted differently by the listener. So in this time of pandemic, misunderstanding usually occurs when they don't understand your ideas, your feelings, and your emotions that you want to share to them. So it is essential for you to clearly state your message and express your ideas and feelings properly. Okay, especially that there are hindrances in communication. The social distancing, our face mask, um, before we are using the face shield, which affects our oral communication. Okay, so make sure that when you are talking to them, your ideas should be clear to them. Okay, in this um, online conversation, online meetings, one roadblocks that affects our communication because of the pandemic is our signal. Okay, which affects our communication with other people. Okay. But of course, we have our ways, we are resourceful, so we can cope up with those problems. Okay. We can surpass all the challenges brought about by the pandemic. So ethics, though we are still suffering from pandemic, we should still consider the words that we are about to use, the way we are talking to people. Okay. So sometimes we do forget the way on which we are going to deliver our message. So words should be carefully chosen in consideration of the gender, the roles, the ethnicity, preferences, and the status of the person or people you are talking to. So we consider the sociocultural aspect of the person whom we are talking to. Okay, because we as an individual is different from others. Okay, we have our individual differences. So we should consider the way in which we are talking to them. Okay, moving forward, vividness. Words that vividly or creatively describe things or feelings usually add colors and spice to communication. In this time of pandemic, we are being hindered in the way we communicate with other people. So most often than not, we communicate with them being hindered by the threat. So we communicate to them in a straightforward way. Okay? We forgot sometimes to add spice, to add colorful words that will encourage others. That's why other people are having misunderstanding. So that means words should be clear, concise, and vivid. We can add colors, we can add um, descriptive words, we can add colorful words that will add up to our message for our listeners. Okay. So if you have questions for this, I am free to listen to your questions. I hope that you can still overcome the problems of the pandemic and you can still communicate with other people, though the threat of pandemic is still everywhere. Okay, I hope that you can still communicate with the people who are important to you, and I hope that each of you are still enhancing your personal, your emotional, your psychological, your social, and intellectual skills through oral communication. Remember that if um, we can communicate with them, you can find ways on how you can communicate with other people, looking at other ways of communication aside from face to face if there are still threat of COVID-19 in your environment. But if not, then thank you very much for it. Okay, thank you so much for listening. I hope at least you grasped some ideas from my presentation. I hope also that I met your standard. I hope also that you were able to grasp ideas, and you can still improve your oral communication skills considering my suggestions based from the strategies that I have mentioned. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, sharing your knowledge with our participants. And our participants, if they have any question or any kind of queries, so they will can ask you in our QA segment. So, ma'am, we are moving to our quiz competition, and after the quiz, we come back with you in our QA. So, till then, please stay with us and enjoy our quiz segment. Thank you, ma'am. So, dear participants, it's time for quiz. So, let me remind you that don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends in our comments. At least mention your 5 friends in our comment section. So, after this short video, we'll start our QA. So, get ready. Okay, so after this short video, we'll start our quiz competition. So, enjoy this short video. So hello everyone in our live quiz segment. Okay. So right now we have 22 participants who have joined already in our live quiz segment. So dear participants, you can find the joining link in our comment box, or you can directly go to www.slido.com, and today's quiz code is quiz IGP. Or if you have the Slido apps on your mobile, then you can directly use the app. Just give your full name and the code. You can also scan the QR code that is flashed on your screen, and this is also a fast way to join in our research segment. Okay, so right now we have 26 participants, and I'm requesting all of our participants, please share this in your Facebook timeline and mention at least your 5 friends in our comment box. And right now we have January Cindy already joined in our live quiz segment. We have Ricky, Ricky are calling now Ma'am Emily. Okay, Ma'am Bia Mary. Okay, we have Ma'am Mina, Mirinda. Alright, we have Sir Ashok Kumar Adhikari, Ma'am Gloria, Ma'am Kiefer, Ma'am Leah Fakunla. So thank you everyone for joining with us, and we have right now 25 participants here. So we are waiting for more participants. I think it will increase if you share this program in your timeline and mentioning in our comment box. And today top 10 will be awarded with quiz completion certificates. And we will share the international webinar code after the QA session in our certification process. So you have to be with us till the end of our program to get the code. So right, let's see how many participants here. Yes, we have right now 40 participants. Okay, so we will start our live quiz competition within a minute. Everyone. And once again, I would like to thank all of our teachers, participants, and learners. Thank you for joining us. Alright, so let's start our live quiz competition. So here is our first question. Which of the following is a benefit of oral communication? Option number one allows for immediate feedback, and option number two provides a permanent record. And the correct answer is option number one, that is, allows for immediate feedback, and 98% of our participants got the correct answer. So let's see our leaderboard. Alright, so we have Sir Tabiso Friends right now is leading on top in this round. Okay, we have Sir Eugene the Shomo following Ma'am John Curl, following Sir Michel J. Kessler, and Ma'am January Singh. So congratulations, those answered correctly. Let's see the next question. Question is, how is communication generally used in advocacy? Option number one, to practice new behaviors until they become habits. Option number two, to influence others in making positive health decisions. Okay, so the time is up and 41% choose option number one, 59% choose option number two. Let's see the right answer. Yes, and 59% of our participants chose the correct answer. So congratulations. And in this round, we have Jan Carol Ortillano. Okay, following Ma'am Melinda Hispano, Ma'am Charlie and Ellen Infante, Ma'am Charlene, hello Ma'am Pucci, and Ma'am Saila May and Villanueva. Okay. So now we are moving to the next question. Which of the following is a benefit of oral communication over written communication? Number one, it provides immediate feedback, and number two, it is revised before delivery. And the correct answer is it provides immediate feedback. And 91% of our participants choose this correct answer. Okay, so we have right now Ma'am Melinda Sibilispano. Okay, following Ma'am Cheryl and Ellen Infante, Ma'am Cheryl Kalamaguchi, Sir Yunjun Piquali, and Sir Daviso Friends. So congratulations, those answered correctly. Let's see the next question. A pandemic is option number one, worldwide infectious disease, and option number two, not infectious. And the time is up, and 100% of our participants choose the correct answer, and it is worldwide infectious disease. So congratulations, everyone. Alright, so we have again nominating the civil founder leading on top in this round, following Nam Charlie and El Infante. We have Nam Charlie Kalahamaguchi, Sir Tabiso Friends, and Sir Rian Junpikwan. So congratulations to all of our participants. Moving to next question. What are two forms of verbal communication? Option number one, professional letter. Option number two, oral and written. Okay, and the correct answer is oral and written. 100% of our participants choose this correct answer. Alright, so we have Melinda Civil Hispano again, following Ma'am Cheryline and Anne Infante. We have Sareen Junpei Walling. We have Ma'am Cheryline Kalamaguchi and Sir David Socrates. So congratulations once again, everyone. Let's see the next question, question number 6. Disadvantage of oral communication is number 1, distortion of message. Number 2, feedback. Alright, so the correct answer is number 1 option, that is distortion of message. And 100% all of our participants got the correct answer. So congratulations everyone. So here is our leaderboard name. We have Ma'am Melinda Civil Hispano, following Ma'am Charlene Anna Infante, Ma'am Charlene Kelohamaguchi, Sir Treviso Friends, and Sir Rian Jun Pico. So there is no change in our leaderboard name. Okay. So let's see the next question. Question number 7. Oral communication ensures blank, and so you have to go to one option. Number 1, adequate attention, immediate response, and number 2, fluency, speed. So you have to choose one option for the blank. And the time is up. Correct answer is option number 1. Oral communication ensures adequate attention and immediate response. So 86% of our participants goes with the correct answer. So congratulations, those answered correctly. Let's see our leaderboard. So we have again Ma'am Melinda Hispano leading on top, following Charlene and Infante, Ma'am Charlene Kalamaguchi, Master Rianjun Piqualing, and Ma'am Leah Fakuna. Okay. So let's proceed to next question. What is the most important element in receiver, number two, writer. Right, so the time is up. Correct answer is receiver. And the 93% of our participants choose the correct answer. Okay, so here is our leaderboard name. We have still now Ma'am Melinda Civil Hispano, following Ma'am Charlie and El Infante. Okay, we have Ma'am Charlie, Kalahamaguchi, Sir Rianju Piquali, and okay, Ma'am Jan Carol Ortland. Okay. So congratulations to our participants who answered correctly. We've lost two more questions, so let's see the next question, question number 5. Okay, it's on true false. Online classes has increased the role of oral communication. So is this true or false? You have to choose one option, true or false. Okay, so the time is up, and the right answer is true. Online classes have increased the role of oral communication, and 84% of our participants get the correct answer. Okay, so lovely. We have Melinda Civil Hispano still now leading on tour, following Ma'am Cheryl and Elefante, Ma'am Cheryl Kalahamaguchi, Sir Rian Junpi Kualing, and uh, Sir Tabiso Friends. Okay, so we have lost one more question. And the question is, what is the biggest disadvantage of not using oral communication like texting? Option number one, ambiguous words, or option number two, faster and pleasant. And you have lost 4 seconds left for choosing your option. 96% of our participants got the correct answer, that is ambiguous words. And let's see our leaderboard. Okay, so congratulations, ma'am. Melinda Civil Hispano. All right. Congratulations, ma'am Shirley and El Infante. All right. We have Sir Tabiso Friends. Congratulations, sir. Sir Ian Jude Picoling. Congratulations, sir. We have Ma'am Leah Fakula. Congratulations, ma'am. So these are our five winners' name. Five in our top 10 winners. So they are included. So let's see the sixth placed. Okay, we have Sariki Yarkali. Okay, place 6. Then we have Ma'am Kathleen E. Atiga, place 7. Ma'am Emily M. Refuyu, placed 8. Ma'am Mia Mary Picasso, placed 9. And Ma'am Cherilyn Kelohamaguchi, placed 10. So congratulations to our top 10 winners. So congratulations once again to our top 10 winners. Everyone give a virtual class for our quiz winners. Okay. So dear top 10 winners, you will get your quiz winner certificates from our Facebook page. So we will post it after the program in our Facebook official Facebook page. So don't forget to collect. And please, when you get your certificate, share your happiness in the comment box, giving a comment and a react. Okay, thank you. So now we're moving to our next segment, that is Q&A with our honorable speaker. So if you have any kind of query or question to ask our speaker, don't hesitate, just write down your question in our comment box. And let me remind all of you, don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends in our comment box. Alright. And we will share our international webinar code after the QA session. So please stay with us till the end. So after this short video, we'll come back with our honorable speaker, Ma'am Mary Ann. So enjoy this QA music. Welcome, ma'am, in our question and answer segment. So, dear participants, please hurry up, write down your question in our comment section. Our speaker is ready to clear any kind of question or query that you want to know, and that must be included in today's topic. Okay. So, we are waiting for your question. Okay, so we have our first question. It's from Sir Malaya. Malaya, so what is the difference of verbal and non-verbal communication?
Okay, hello po. Hello, Sir Malayan Malayan Asia. Okay, I hope I pronounced it correctly. So, what is the difference between verbal and nonverbal communication? When we speak of, oh, wait for a while. Um, Okay, sounding off the the laptop is sounding off. Okay. So what is the difference between verbal and non-verbal communication? When we speak about verbal communication, that is the use of spoken words. Our means of communication is the language, and we communicate using our speaking process. While when we speak of non-verbal communication, that is the use of nonverbal gestures that includes your actions, your written words, okay, your facial expression, our hand gestures, our eye movement, our distances with one another. Those are nonverbal communication, the use of nonverbal gestures. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So here's our next question. It's from Jacqueline Bessa. How communication has been impacted by the recent COVID-19 pandemic? Thank you, ma'am, for answering. So you can see the question on the screen, ma'am.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. Um, Jacqueline Bessa. Okay, thank you so much for your question. Okay, how communication has been impacted by the recent COVID-19 pandemic? Okay, thank you for your question, Miss Jacqueline. Okay, I'll wait for a while. Okay. So we are being affected by the COVID-19 pandemic because of the threat. We were able to um, restricted by the way we communicate with other people. So that affects our way of socializing with other people, that affects our communication process and the way we communicate with them. So um, some people suffer from anxiety because they don't have people to communicate with. So our way of socializing with others was affected by the COVID-19. We cannot share our knowledge, our way of sharing with them was prohibited, not actually prohibited, but we have restriction, at least the process of how we communicate with them was restricted. Okay. So we tend to just communicate with people staying at home.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have our next question is for Jan Carl Artila. Okay. So how do you describe good or effective communication?
Okay. Question of Mr. John Carl Orteliano. Okay. How would you describe good or effective communication? We can say that a person or our communication or is good or effective if our listener can understand our message and if they have feedback. That is the very much essential or the objective of communication. If we are understood by our listener, they can understand us and they can provide feedback. That is the good communication.
Thank you, ma'am. So our next question is from one of our participants. It's named Facebook user. Okay, how does oral communication relevant nowadays amidst the COVID-19 pandemic?
Okay, thank you so much for your question, Mr. or Miss Facebook user. How does oral communication relevant nowadays amidst the COVID-19 pandemic? So oral communication is very much important because we can still share our knowledge, we can still share our experiences, though we are using only channels. Our communication face to face was limited, but we have still means of communication, we have still other ways of communication. So oral communication is very much important because it is so much important for us to share what we have in mind, what we have in heart, so that what we have can be understood by other people. Okay, that is the very much essential importance of communication, our way of sharing to others, and our way of grasping also what they have in mind.
Thank you, ma'am. And here is our next question is from Sir Eke Adhikari. How does oral communication increase in the pandemic?
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. AK. How does oral communication increase in the pandemic? Oral communication increases during the pandemic through our way of using the different channels, teleconferencing. Um, we also use the social media, voice messages, in which we can still communicate with others through channels. Okay. And also, aside from that, people tend to stay at home. So they have all time. Their leisure time can be used in communicating with others. Aside from that, communicating also with the members of the family. So they can share what they have, they can share their feelings, their emotion, and they can share quality time with them.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And we have our next question. It's from Ma'am Sahara. Good day. Based on our experience during this extended F2F, our learners hesitate to participate in our class discussion. So, what would be the best motivation handle with them in order for them to engage their oral communication?
Okay, thank you so much for your question, Miss Sahara. Okay, how are we going to improve the communication skills of our students since they have experienced this pandemic? They have the gap already in oral communication. Okay, my suggestion there would be that will depends upon the subject area. Okay, each subject area has their different strategies, different ways of communicating with our students. So we have different strategies in the classroom depending in our subject area. But um, as as a teacher, we can encourage them to talk through at during the first day of classes. We already welcome them in the class. Welcoming them is motivating them already to talk to you and communicate with you, asking them, how are you? Asking them, are you all right? And asking them what are their experiences. In that way, in a simple sharing of experiences, that can already be a way in order for us to let our students communicate with us.
So, here is
In
our
the subject areas, we can extend that.
okay. So, thank you so much, ma'am. So, here is our next question from again the Facebook user. Is there a better way to acquire oral communication skill?
Okay, is there a better way to acquire oral communication skill? Um, our way of our speaking skill is already our skill since birth. But considering our skill as a person, in order for us to improve our speaking skills, we can enhance that through practicing, keep on practicing, talking with friends, talking with people, enhancing our way of communicating, enhancing the ideas in mind, and talking in front of the mirror is already a way of enhancing our skill. So again, one is talking in front of the mirror. That is the best way or the first strategy. And then another one is talking and speaking and sharing with your friends, sharing with your family members. A simple conversation is already improving and already a best way of enhancing your communication skills.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your knowledge with our participants, and thank you for coming in our platform, IGP's platform. Thank you once again. So, do you have any message or that anything that you want to share with our participants?
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for letting me be a part of your program and for the expanding program of the Institute of Global Professionals. I always pray for the betterment of this program and for the betterment of this of your institution, of your group. My message is let us continue enhancing our skills in oral communication despite all the hurdles, despite all the roadblocks. Let's keep enhancing our communication skills for us to be understand and be understood. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, ma'am, there's a request from one of our participants that it's from Ma'am Isaya Kiangi. She wants your contact number. Can you hear me, ma'am? Ma'am, please check the private chat, ma'am. Okay, so because of technical problems, she cannot hear us. Alright. Okay, our speakers and mail ID. So I'm just posting in our comment box. You can see it. Okay. Thank you so much to our speaker, Ma'am Mary Ann, for coming in IGP's platform and sharing her knowledge with our teachers, with the learners. So thank you so much, ma'am. So dear participants, now we are moving to our next segment, that is certification process. And after this short video, Thanksgiving video, we'll come back. Alright, so this is our certification process, today's certification process, and the program name is Oral Communication Amidst the Pandemic. The code is IGP1923. Let me tell you once again, the code is IGP1923, and without this code, no one is eligible for certificates. And with this code, you can claim your certificates anytime. And you can also visit our account, Facebook, sorry, our website address is www.eduigp.com. So visit our website and get your e-certificates. Okay, so you can see our new website, that is we have launched already yesterday, that is job logins, and we have posted in our comments. So visit also our new website, that is job logins. I can find all the links worldwide about job related. Okay, and we have our new Facebook page, that is IGP Kids. So don't forget to give a thumbs up to our new page, thumbs up or like. So don't forget to give a thumbs up and stay connected with IGP. So thank you so much everyone for staying with us till now. I would like to request everyone to join our next webinar in the evening. So don't miss it. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy wherever you are right now. I'm Nasrunisha from Bangladesh signing off. Thank you.